All right. So in response to Gabor Mate's, trauma is inside as a result of what happened to you and is now an internal psychological wound. You would say
No,
with the survival
not a
skills,
wound. It's a
education.
it's emotional education about how the world is, and your brain will use that information to keep you alive and safe. Unfortunately, it keeps you locked into that same miserableness. Yeah. So it's not a internal psychological wound. It's not even a damage. Now, granted, consciously, we don't like the results that our brain is producing because we hadn't taken control of the brain, nor have we learned how to change what's in the brain. So there's people, like I said, who's had a lot of traumas. And if they had a lot of traumas, the worst thing they want to do is go to their traumas. They'd rather eat cake, you know, they'd rather do anything else. Just because you ignore it doesn't make it gone. Pretend it's not there, it doesn't make it go away. It's waiting for the right opportunity to knock on your emotional door. And so what we want to do is we want to inoculate, update, and change all traumas. Are people who are in positions such as ministers, police officers, nurses, police officers, military guys. And people who come from really strong emotional abusive environments. They don't want to come because they have to try to be mentally strong and try to divert their attention, you know, and therefore, you know, drug use or alcohol use or obesity or obsessive behaviors like cleaning or shopping or gambling or hunting, whatever it is you do to try to avoid yourself. The problem is the older you get, the more the world slows down for you because you can't move fast enough anymore. That's when the demons, or I say demons, that's where the emotional education that are unpleasant starts coming out. And that's when you start having physical issues or psychological issues or whatever it is, issues. So the key is really.
You think it's because the body slows down that you become less resilient? Because I've noticed that.
When you get older, your body is getting older. I mean, you can't run a mile or do 100 push-ups like you used to. And when you're younger, you stay busy. You stay busy. So if you stay busy, you can't think.
So busy is a form of coping
mechanism. Escapism. Yes. Yeah. Escapaholic.
And then you retire and everything crashes in because
when life starts slowing down.
Time to think about those things that are in the background.
Yeah. When things slow down, that stuff you've been trying to keep in the closet, the door's full and it's trying to come out of the closet. That's that stuff you've been avoiding. And you can't avoid what's in you. You know, the alcohol fades off. The drugs fade off. You got to take a break. You can't work all the time, you know? And then that's when the stuff starts happening. And they said, well, I wasn't like this 10 years ago. I said, because 10 years ago, you're too busy to be thinking. Your life slowed down and that stuff is trying to come out. So again, there is hope, guys. And if you'd like to learn how to change your life, update those traumas. I mean, sometimes you make an adjustment in trauma. It takes 10 minutes and you've been dragging around for 50 years or longer, you know. And we do, you know, I train my students to do the biggest and the worst stuff. And of course, like Tammy said, I love trauma because when you find it, you can change it. I hate trauma because I can't.
To me for help, I like it. Otherwise, I'm like, oh no, you have that.
Yeah, you don't want. I mean, but listen, if you have trauma, you know how to deal with it yourself too.
Right.
Because either you'll do it yourself, or you'll find one of your fellow students to help you clean it up. There's a great production within. Whatever it is, a great production.
Very good.
So what do we start out with anyway? What was this whole conversation started with?
It was trauma is what inside as a result of what happened to you, and the comment of that it's a psychological wound, or that you're wounded or broken forever because of it. Yeah. I mean, it feels like a wound. So.
Well, I mean, it feels like a wound only because our brain is making it feel real. But it's not real. It just seems real. And it's based on unpleasantry. So we just change those. You know, like if you look at Gabor Mate, you look at his life, you know, again, who we are, who we think we are based on our internal references and our stories. And again, if you use your history as a bouncing board for your current identity. And you
Right.
look at it and you want to blame that your current problems are because of war, is because of, the stories that you tell. And it's true.
Yeah.
Based on what you create inside your mind, that's true. It's not necessarily true. And again, if you think that these experiences are actual and factual today, they're not. They were, but it's how you hold and represent it. So you look at Gabor's story, his story and his teachings are in alignment that it is a wound. You're always going to have this wound. It's an internal psychological wound that manifests your problems in your body, in your health, in the world. But the system is different from a different mindset. Yes, we all had bad experiences. I have them. I've had them too. We all have. But we can either let those experiences create an identity and a value system for us, or we can use that to change that identity and value system, and you'll act and have a totally different life. So it is not a wound. It is an emotional education.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take this education, learn from it, let go of the pain of it, and then change it to where you're producing something different, you get something different. And that's the biggest difference I see, granted, my story is not exactly like his, but there's similarities of trauma, hurt, etc.
Right.
But that's not true today. That don't define me.
Right.
Because how I internalize me is who I am today.
And one of the greatest benefits is, like you talked about, that person that had been in war, to be able to talk about it and not have that. Like,
and it's not real.
Stories that I was like, I'm not ever telling this to anyone. And then you get it out and you change it. And then you're like, oh, it's not even a big deal.
It's not true.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Before it was true. And so we diffuse it and we put the past in the past. And this is what happens. When you recall a memory that you hadn't cleaned up, when you recall it, it's right here. It's like right now.
Yep.
The past is real now. But when we get done with it, we change it, we adjust it, we fix it. When you think about it, it's like way over there. I know it happened, but it's not true today. Before it was true 10 minutes ago. And that sets you free.
True to you, because what you believe is going to be recreated.
Because belief is an internalization of your identity and value system, which is based on your memories and what you hold inside. You change the memories, you change your belief. So good stuff, huh?
Yes, very good.